Artificial intelligence. The new technology of artificial human minds, presented in our fictions for decades, is now becoming a reality in ways that not even decades of fiction could accurately capture this reality. Before the decades of 2020, artificial intelligence and synthetic voice has all been remarkably capable of generating voices to speak coherent sentences, such as the iPhone helper of Siri or Google Translate. However, AI is now capable of giving even more remarkable things than the technology we once knew. It is now capable of generating any human's faces with technology such as deepfake technologies that allows people to switch faces. And now it can create any individual's voices to speak whatever the command's inputs, such as the deepfakes to put celebrity faces in videos or scenarios that have never appeared on.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not...
Or fictional characters to speak a line that they've never talked, seamlessly and believably.
This fucking guy.
Do you have a problem, fat ass?
Which all of these artificial intelligence technologies are becoming more accessible than ever before, requiring only a decent hardware and an internet connection. This creates a concerning question, specifically regarding actors and performers within the creative business. Does an actor have any legal protections against their generation of themselves, their identities, which ties to their public perception and their personality, by artificial intelligence within Thailand legal system? Hi, my name is Tanakorn Suriyanonrin. This video will be discussion and summarizing of my article titled The Legal Landscapes of Thailand's Intellectual Property in the Usage of Artificial Intelligence Concerning Actors' Persona and Personal Characteristic. Artificial intelligence technologies require a brief explanation before discussing the legal options and obstacles. Fundamentally, artificial intelligence is a combination of multiple technologies that mimics our cognitive understanding, like the technology of deep learning, which performs a task and keeps learning from mistakes to perform a task better and better until it is done. Then the deep learning forms through an algorithm of neural networks. Then these neural networks can be structured like a functioning machines, such as having a neural network generating a content, then having another neural network detect the artificialness of the generated content until the network thinks it is authentic. The neural networks are capable of creating an individual faces or voice simply through data, specifically an input data of individual faces, voices, and performances, which produces output data of a synthetic performance of an individual. However, these neural networks doesn't directly copy any input data, but instead learns from it and replicates the data into an output data itself. Now, concerning the current laws available for actors, the article mainly focuses on the field of intellectual property laws, which regards the protection of human creative works, since these artificial intelligence-generated contents use actors' work of the past performance of input data to generate contents and then other obtainable fields of law. First, copyright. Under Thailand's principle of copyright only applies to an expression of idea that contains originality and must be a work within the law. An individual faces could not be a copyrighted work since a face is not a work that expresses any idea. Every person's face is unique, but it's not an originality under the copyright principles, which requires a human labor to make it original. And a human face could not fit under any work under the regulations. This also applies to a human voice, which cannot express any idea itself. The originality of the voices come from the human unique anatomy, not through labor, and it cannot be considered a work since the voice is not creative enough to be suited as a song or a music. Essentially, copyright cannot directly protect an actor's face or voices from artificial intelligence, since human characteristics and identity are not considered as a creative work under copyright. Second, if we considered a performing rights instead, which allows performers to have exclusive rights over their recorded performances. These exclusive rights include having to gain their permission for recording of their performances, broadcasting of that performance, and specifically, a reproduction of the performances under the same laws of copyright. While their protection will still be within the tangible copyright medium, and the qualified performers under law excluded certain occupations such as modeling, they could utilize their performing rights to protect their performance from reproduction. However, when it comes to enforcement, whether the whether it's from the copyright holder or from the performers and their performance rights, there are still massive issues concerning copyright enforcement against AI due to the new nature of artificial intelligence that does not explicitly copy or reproduce the work, since artificial intelligence only learns from the input data and produces the performance itself. While the reproductions includes an imitation of work, artificial intelligence does not imitate the work itself, but rather imitates the characteristics from the work. And so this ambiguity created by the AI technology does not provide a concrete prospect for the copyright enforcement against artificial intelligence. If we move on to the third option of a trademark, which protects a brand and indicates goods and services like logos, a trademark considers three qualities. It must be distinctive, not prohibited by law, and unique enough to not be confused with other registered marks. These qualities fit on individual faces, since a person's face could be a mark of a photograph that represents oneself under the law. And since a person's face is not prohibited by law and is distinctive from other human faces, it is qualified as a trademark. However, an individual voice will not likely be passed as a trademark. While voice is considered as a sound mark, it would not be prohibited or similar. It would unlikely be a trademark since a person's voice would produce various noises which would be too wide for a trademark to protect a specific mark. The existing case of celebrities' voices in the United States cements this idea, with the famous singer Pitbull trademarked his voice yelling, "Ayo," showing that only a voices within a specific phrases could be a trademark. While a trademark is beneficial, of course, since it can protect a faces as long as this remains to be used within the goods and services to a registered right against that specific goods and services. However, the enforcement of the non-registered right is also available under the criminal code of passing off. However, despite all of that, this enforcement is still limited to the goods and service, as passing off concerns only about the falsifying of goods or services origin, such as imitating a celebrity voices to advertise a product. Lastly, the right of publicity, which does not exist in Thailand, but worth studying and analysis. The right is not specifically an intellectual property rights like the others, but arguably a mixture of privacy rights and intellectual property rights, as it concerns an individual right to use their identity for commercial purposes, where any aspects of their identity can be utilized for commercial purposes such as advertisement or merchandising. The right does not exist in Thailand though, so an actor in Thailand could only rely upon the fundamental law of tort, the wrongful act concerning the uses of one's identity as the breach of their privacy, or a criminal or civil defamation for generating materials that may be harmful to them, such as deepfake or pornographic content. All in all, this article found that Thailand's current law of intellectual property, fundamental civil laws, are not suited to protect actors and performers' economic interests from exploitation by the creative industry, and moral interests from the exploitation by the general public, who can now use their identity without permission, and that Thailand should preserve these interests before the artificial intelligence dismantle these interests.